Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, let's get this straight. I am now officially associated directly on a professional level with Blizzard. That is true. Why? I work for the same company. I have worked for the same company for as long as I can remember. As a matter of fact, behind me on the wall, I have this thing here. It says, I don't know, some kind of engineer or something with my name all over it. What does that mean now? That means Microsoft acquiring Blizzard means I can literally walk into the next office and go get my hands on any Blizzard items. I don't know if that's true. Let's see if it is. I have no clue. Hit subscribe, because you know what? I'm going to bring you some reactions. I know that DM just reported on this. Let's see what DM has to say. And I'm just going to walk through it. What the heck? This is not DM. You guys, just ignore whatever you just saw on that screen. It didn't happen, okay? All right, now let's go get to that real one. And let's do some reaction to Darth Microtransaction telling us what's going on. Darth, what's going on here? You said it's huge.
Well, it is official. Activision Blizzard has been purchased by Microsoft for $69 billion. $69 billion. Nice. Now, with the memes aside, there is some impact this might have upon the gaming community, so let's talk about it. Most obvious of these would, of course, be the fact there was a giant court case around this acquisition due to the fact that, it basically boils down to monopoly. Sony was not too happy that Microsoft is gobbling up all of these, but from my understanding, Sony is still the second largest gaming company in the world, which is still ahead of Microsoft and behind Tencent. Here's an article from the LA Times saying, in fact,
whoa, behind Tencent. You should be going after Tencent. So Microsoft would have a monopoly on what? I don't know. Since it went through, that means their arguments were not valid. The courts, the government, they said, Microsoft will not have a monopoly by owning Warcraft and by owning Diablo. So that's good for me as a Microsoft individual, career Microsoft individual. I have been a part of the Borg since graduating college, and I've only done one thing my entire life, except for now. We're just doing some YouTubes on the free side. Okay.
Effectively the same thing, mentioning that Microsoft is the third largest gaming company in the world by revenue.
Oh my, third largest gaming company. So when I started working as a Microsoft engineer, gaming was not even on the table. Our gaming featured solitaire. That was the extent of Microsoft gaming back then. But now it's the third largest gaming company in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it here first. Savadious. Oh yeah, I got the connections, guys.
In fact, be behind Tencent and Sony in Japan. However, I think the argument behind the monopoly is not so much the revenue in which they are creating, but the games in which they have their hands on now. And with the acquisition of all of these games, Activision games, Blizzard games, and King games, that's going to make Xbox Game Pass pretty good. In fact, they say so as much. If you look right here, we're also beginning to work to make Activision, Blizzard, and King's much beloved library of games available in Game Pass and other platforms. So that is directly from Microsoft themselves. This is from the Xbox chief, Phil Spencer.
Oh, that has so much potential. Instead of just buying a game here or there, you pay that monthly fee and you get to play all of these games included with that price. But you know what? I added up the prices of Game Passes and it's not so bad. So if it's like, what, $60 to buy a game and you can get, what, 3 months of Game Pass for that. So you can break even in real life by buying one game every 3 months. If you buy more than that, then the Game Pass really pays off.
When they were welcoming the Blizzard employees to Microsoft, they are already starting to state these games are coming to Game Pass. Sort of
Wait, welcoming the Blizzard employees to Microsoft. Nobody sent me a letter to welcome these guys. Hey guys, I'm Microsoft. Where was my letter to welcome the Blizzard employee? Does that mean I get free access to BlizzCon now? You guys saw in the past, I couldn't even register for BlizzCon. Maybe I should look and I'll find some special Microsoft mail where, oh my God, I do get those perks. Oh my God. let's continue, guys. This is some exciting news.
Reminds me of the Star Wars acquisition by Disney, where they went and acquired an IP and put it into their streaming type of platform in order to increase the monthly sales of that. It seems like it's somewhat of a similar play. They go out, they acquire a big chunk of IP with a lot of games in there. They slide it in their Game Pass and they start selling more monthly subscriptions.
Slide into your
I'm not
DMs,
a big hater
bro.
of this as much as I was with like, okay, maybe Disney acquiring Star Wars for me felt a little bit worse than Microsoft acquiring Activision Blizzard, strictly because Game Pass is actually pretty good. I mean, I've owned Game Pass. I don't own it now, but I have in the past, and I've never begrudged the money I spend on Game Pass. There's a lot of good games in there. But I think it really all comes down to Call of Duty. Most people, Duty is too big of an IP, and I think Sony in particular was feeling a little bit scared that Call of Duty was going to be locked behind only the Xbox or the Xbox Game Pass.
Behind a Microsoft
Sony
wall,
out of the
not a
market for
paywall.
Call of Duty,
MS
which is not what is planned. They have actually signed an agreement to keep a 10-year deal to keep Call of Duty on the PlayStation. After that 10 years, however, well, it's a crapshoot because they said they reserve the right to be able to make Activision Blizzard franchise exclusives to the Xbox platform going forward. So in 10 years, maybe. One thing's for sure, though, is the last few years, Microsoft has been showing a lot more interest in building out the gaming side of things. We had all the gaming leaks that we addressed earlier with the largest leak in gaming history that you can see in that previous video. But also, Microsoft acquired Bethesda for $7.5 billion just within the last 2 years. This is back in 2021. And even back then, they gave them a company's first-party Xbox game studio total of 23 as opposed to 13.
This is some good info,
PlayStation
guys.
At the time. So you can start to see why Sony was starting to feel the screws put them
Thanks
just
for
a little bit.
sharing.
So how are the employees of the company feeling about this? Well, it seems like mostly positive from everything I've been seeing. This has partly to do with the fact that Microsoft seems somewhat open to unions. For instance,
hey, I'm a Microsoft guy, okay? And all I know is I expect my employee perks. I expect those affiliated perks. I'm not even going to go into it. I'm going to have to read these internal things, log into my Microsoft account, and see if there's anything there about what do I get now? Now that Blizzard's here, do I get a free battle pass? I don't know what I get. But all of our things that we're affiliated with, there's some kind of perk for people with certifications for Microsoft, all this kind of stuff. I'm going to jump into that. I want my free bid. I want my free bed and breakfast. I want my free entrance to BlizzCon. Sit and eat with the employees. Bro, I'm one of you now. I'm just going to be sitting there with my coworkers. This is going to be nice.
Here's an article talking about the U.S. Tech Union praises completion of Microsoft Activision's Blizzard acquisition, says it represents a milestone for improving labor in gaming. President of the Communication Workers of America says...
Wait a minute. Okay, I see Tommy Chong has cancer. That's bad. But, oh, wow. I thought Tommy Chong was going to speak in on this. And sorry, bro. That's that horrifying truth about CBD. That's a whole separate issue. Okay. We'll worry about that later. Tommy Chong, I have worked with your daughter in the past when I was like a teenager. So, great people there. Tommy Chong, that's sad news. Let's go ahead and continue.
As is a new day for workers at Activision Blizzard. He goes over some of the past history of Blizzard, which has been pretty sketchy, and talks about how now there's a 60-day waiting period before those Blizzard employees are allowed to free to start talking about unionizing and discussing labor organization.
Guys, I can't talk for 60 days. DM, just let me know. But I'm not going to touch that. That's a political topic. We won't touch that at all here, okay? Let's continue.
And this would be because Microsoft signed a neutrality agreement in 2022 agreeing to not interfere with any unionization.
Got him.
Attempts. Same sentiment seems to be mirrored, at least across the Twitter accounts I'm following for Blizzard. For instance, Adam Fletcher, one of the most notable within the Diablo 4 community here, seems to be fairly positive about going back to work for Microsoft, retweeting things about the same CMA decision that I read to you guys earlier, more repost here, etc. So it seems like the courts approved it, the employees are fine with it, Game Pass will be getting probably some bangers coming, and there should be 10 years
with it. I'm a Microsoft
non-exclusive Call of Duty. After that, who knows? Is this going to affect Diablo 4 is probably a question you're wondering.
Diablo 4 in the Game Pass.
Parent umbrella company, I doubt it automatically changes the game. However, if we're lucky, we might see Diablo 4 go on the Game Pass. We know it's already going to Steam, but Game Pass could be pretty cool as well. I think it would be a game that would fit Game Pass. You pay a little bit of a monthly subscription, you get a handful of decent games, one of which would be Diablo, would probably be a W for Game Pass.
Especially if I'm already with the Game Pass. But here's the thing, on the Game Pass, it will unlock the game for you, basically. So if you've already purchased it, you don't get anything special. But just having an extra copy of Diablo around that you can fire up anytime, especially if you already had a Game Pass, that's not so bad. You can let your kids play, let your spouse play, whatever that is. Not so bad at all. Just have an extra Diablo to play with others.
In other Diablo 4 news, this one's actually pretty funny. Diablo on the official Twitter ended up deleting the video they posted.
What?
Not only because it was mathematically incorrect. In fact, if you look right here, here's our boy Rax on Reddit breaking down the...
Oh, I just saw that same thumbnail. Okay, what's going on? What's the problem?
Why 40% of 1,000 is not 40, but in fact 400. But there is... They also had it backwards, showing that the quality of life improvements for the dungeon were before and after, and they got them swapsies, and then they showed two horses going the exact same speed and said, hey, take a look. We've improved the speed of the horses. It was a memeable trailer that has since been deleted. I think he puts it best himself.
That's funny.
So... everything here is wrong.
Now, there's some interesting news in relation to Diablo 4 and BlizzCon. So this here on Twitter is Joe Shelley says, Asmongoat, saw your question. Malignant Heart, where it casts for you to be part of the core game. This is in reference to basically my favorite heart from Season 1 that would make your corpse cast and curses, etc. automatic. Yeah. Now, he says, tune into BlizzCon. This was a Season 1 mechanic, so maybe we're going to see stacking season mechanics coming to the Eternal realm. We don't know, but there is supposed to be some announcements on BlizzCon. Now, if you didn't know, I myself will actually be at BlizzCon as well as TwitchCon in just 7 days. So if you're going to be at either of those and you see long red hair, feel free to come up and say hi. I am rather looking forward to kind of getting out of Alaska and checking out some of these conventions. What's actually interesting about this is the first BlizzCon, to my understanding, that have not fully sold out. In fact, you can still purchase your tickets
now. I can't.
Prices, $2.99, $7.99 for the full Quarto Pass, but it's $300 to get yourself into
with my Microsoft
door,
perks?
which is, I mean, it's pretty expensive. I can
what
see
if
why
there's
they
a
didn't
freebie
all sell.
waiting for me right now?
To be fair, I guess you get some other stuff with it. You get a backpack, etc.
I want the swag.
It, but still, $300 and $800
I always take home
kind of a lot for a
the
ticket.
Swag.
Now, the dates for this
Sell
are
it to my
November
neighbors from
3rd
BlizzCon.
and 4th, which coincides exactly with the release of Warcraft Rumble. So,
look, there's LeVar Burton. What are you talking about? LeVar Burton to host the National Book Awards. That's nice. Sophie Turner unfollowed someone. Kaiser did something. There's a lot of news out there. But what are you talking about? Spilled the newest deals on Warcraft Rumble. You know, I showed you Warcraft Rumble, guys. It's supposed to launch on November 3rd. But why have I been playing it? You know what? I looked into it and found out it's been released in a few countries. That's why. So if you're in one of those countries, working full-time, living there, taking a vacation, stopping over there, it unlocked Warcraft Rumble for you. So you were able to enjoy that. But here's the thing, though. It's on Android and iOS. I want to play Warcraft Rumble on my desktop. I just like this chair better. And the screen, there's a big giant screen better than my little tiny phone screen. So I really wish I could do Warcraft Rumble on the big screen. Yeah, I know Microsoft 11 has the built-in, the Android emulator. You could probably do it that way. But that's a whole different story. Oh my God, I just want it just native, just right there in my Battle.net launcher with everything else.
If you did not know, November 3rd, there is a new Warcraft game. It is a mobile game going to iOS and the Play Store, which is in the Warcraft universe. Effectively, it's minis, a lot like Clash Royale. I actually play tested this a little bit. I thought it was all right. If you like Clash Royale, you'll probably like this game. It is a mobile game, however, and I know most of the audience watching this video are probably PC gamers. And if you're somebody who doesn't
Exactly. I want it on my PC. But you know what, guys? Any of you got 3D printers out there? Microsoft is giving you the STL files for all of these minis from this Warcraft Rumble. So you'll find it down there, right there in my description, the link to download the STL files and print these minis yourself, and you can just have your own collection. It's very nice. Let's go wrap this
participate in mobile
Darth.
games, so you're probably just not going to like this one. But if you are at all a fan of like the Supercell style games, Clash Royale, you drop like a little Warcraft character that runs across the screen to kind of kill their Warcraft character and then destroy their base at the end. Maybe you might like this one. Either way, I guarantee there's going to be stuff related to Warcraft Rumble at BlizzCon. It releases it the same day as...
You know, your BlizzCon swag includes skins for Warcraft Rumble. So look through the details of what's included. Warcraft Rumble swag is included with your BlizzCon ticket purchase.
As BlizzCon, so it would make sense. What's kind of interesting, too, we didn't cover earlier when talking about this, is with the acquisition of Activision Blizzard, Bobby Kotick is actually going to be leaving the company. So at the end of 2023, which is coming up here pretty soon, we are going to be losing Bobby Boy. And that's pretty much about it for Diablo News today. It's kind of a mixed grab bag of a little bit of funny bits. Had to delete their Twitter video because math is math, as well as Microsoft, Activision, Blizzard purchased for $69 billion.
$69 billion. Ladies, gentlemen, thank you for joining me. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Oh my God, Warcraft. Yeah, look down there in the description. Print those STL files out. I'll be seeing you next time. This is Savadious with the reaction to Darth Microtransactions. Huge Blizzard news.